Today I will show you a crime thriller film from 2005 titled Revolver. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The story begins with Jake Green, a Cockney gambler, finally being released from prison after 7 years of confinement. 2 years later, he and his brother Billy head to one of the most important casinos in the area, aiming to reclaim the money owed to them by the casino owner and crime boss, Maka. Ignoring his bodyguard Paul's advice, Maka allows Jake to join his private game. On the way up, Jake hesitates to take the elevator due to his claustrophobia, but the other bodyguards insist, reminding him they must climb 20 floors. Jake gives in, fighting a panic attack as he ascends. At the table, he deliberately loses a chip toss against another player to manipulate Maka into a false sense of security. When he plays Maka directly, he wins, securing their plan to reclaim the money. Jake and Billy hurry to leave the casino with their cash, only to be intercepted by Zach, who warns them of danger and offers his help, leaving Jake a card. This time, Jake tries to take the stairs, but collapses before taking a step, revealing the card says, "Take the elevator." Rushed to the hospital, Jake is examined, but no immediate cause for his blackout is found. Maka, worried about Jake seeking revenge, especially after the incident with his sister-in-law, orders Paul to hire the best hitman in the business to eliminate him. Meanwhile, Jake is informed he has a rare blood disease that will kill him within 3 days, according to the tests Zach and Avi provide. Zach and Avi offer protection in exchange for 2 conditions. Jake must give them all his money and follow any instructions they give. Skeptical, Jake initially refuses, suspecting a trap. Seeking a second opinion from his private doctor, he receives the same grim prognosis. After threatening the doctor to ensure honesty, Jake accepts the deal, taking money from the bank to comply. Avi explains they are loan sharks and their protection depends on Jake's willingness to participate in their operations. As they visit clients to drop off money, Avi probes Jake about his history with Maka. Years earlier, Maka employed 3 incompetent men, the 3 Eddies, who needed Jake to replace a lost card man. Jake was forced to accept to protect Billy's family. During the game, insults toward Jake and his mother led to a gunfight, power outage, and police questioning. In the chaos, his sister-in-law is accidentally killed while protecting her daughter, cementing Jake's long-standing grudge against Maka. During his visits to clients, Zach directs Jake to a motel for safety. Meanwhile, Maka and Paul seek a powder deal brokered by crime kingpin Sam Gold through his advisor Lily Walker. Gold's presence is mysterious and shrouded in ego and influence, as Lily reminds Maka that Gold avoids publicity and second chances. Jake continues giving money to Zach and Avi while playing chess, recounting his prison experience where he learned a masterful formula to win any game from 2 neighboring inmates. In prison, Jake's cellmates, a chess master and a con man, silently communicated through library books. They planned a prison break and intended to take Jake with them, but they disappeared, leaving him behind. Released 2 years later, Jake discovered they had taken all his money, leaving a note, "You can only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent." Using this formula, Jake begins to amass wealth across various casinos. As Jake navigates his clients, he refuses to harm innocent people, despite being ordered to intimidate them. Meanwhile, Avi and Zach orchestrate heists, including stealing powder from a rival and framing Maka, ensuring he believes he's losing control. Jake's clever maneuvers create confusion and manipulation among the criminal hierarchy, causing Maka to scramble for answers. Billy discovers the danger posed by Zach and Avi, warning Jake to leave, but Jake persists, determined to see his plan through. Jake faces a moral dilemma when asked to shoot a client. He refuses and attempts to shoot Avi, only to find the gun empty. Avi incapacitates him, and Jake wakes up hours later in the motel, confirmed to be healthy by his doctor. With his niece and brother's support, he begins to understand the complexity of his situation. Meanwhile, Paul gathers intel, linking Jake to recent criminal mishaps, prompting Maka to order his assassination. Returning to the motel, Jake evades Maka's thugs, who believe he has killed one of their own when an accidental shooting occurs. Jake confronts Avi and Zach at their office, learning they had orchestrated events to protect him, while revealing that his past dealings with the Eddies were partially hidden. Jake had been paying them in a circular scheme, using one Eddie's money to pay another, all while keeping Maka unaware. Jake's strategic manipulation of the casinos and the Eddies creates both wealth and leverage. As he takes a vacation with Billy and his niece, Maka orders the elimination of the Eddies for unpaid debts. Maka's world begins to unravel as Jake continues to outmaneuver him at every turn, maintaining control over his finances and exposing the flaws in Maka's ego-driven operations. Maka's attempts to regain dominance are met with further humiliation. At a restaurant, his henchmen report Jake's escape. Sorter, Maka's hitman, kills a disguised woman, injuring her but failing to complete the hit. Maka is left in disarray, his authority undermined. Sorter is later sent to eliminate Lord John and his men, showing the continuous chaos in Maka's operations. Jake spends time with Zach and Avi on a rooftop golf game, learning the philosophy of power and ego. Sam Gold does not exist physically, but represents greed and control over those who invest in him. Jake realizes that to free himself, he must reject the influence of these imaginary powers and regain autonomy over his life. He begins to plan his final moves against Maka, aiming to undermine his criminal empire psychologically rather than physically. Taking his remaining bank funds, Jake donates the money, then sneaks into Maka's bedroom. Confronted by voices in his head, he fights his inner ego while apologizing to Maka for deceiving him, acknowledging him as the superior crime lord and revealing his charitable actions in Maka's name. This psychological confrontation allows Jake to confront his fears and assert control over his destiny. In a symbolic act, Jake takes the elevator, which stalls on the 13th floor. Battling a panic attack, he engages in a mental struggle with his ego and emerges triumphant, stepping out as a free man. Once the elevator resumes, Jake reaches the ground floor, finding Maka armed and furious. Jake walks past him calmly, displaying no fear, causing Maka to spiral into madness, unable to comprehend someone ignoring his authority. Maka, humiliated and enraged, experiences a breakdown as Jake's composure undermines his entire sense of power. The following morning, Paul delivers newspapers showing Maka credited for Jake's donations, further inflating his ego while concealing Jake's true machinations. Maka's brief satisfaction is shattered when Paul informs him that Jake possesses the powder and has manipulated events to his advantage. Paul, Sorter, and Maka's henchmen interrogate Billy, who hides his daughter, refusing to reveal Jake's location. Sorter grows uneasy when innocent parties are involved, ultimately rejecting his own ego-driven actions. He begins methodically killing fellow henchmen, but makes a fatal error, resulting in his death. Maka is then visited by Lily, who informs Maka that Gold disapproves of publicity and that Maka's time and power is over, sending him into panic once more. Avi and Zach take Jake and the powder to Maka's casino. Avi defeats Jake at chess while revealing that he and Zach were the neighboring cellmates in prison, orchestrating Jake's journey while always remaining figments of his imagination. This revelation challenges Jake's perception of reality, showing the layers of psychological manipulation he endured throughout the story. As the casino bodyguards arrive to take Jake to Maka, he is confronted with his niece, a living stake in the final confrontation. Dropping the bags of powder, Jake reassures her, remaining unafraid even when Maka points a gun at the child. Jake's calmness and mastery over fear dismantle the psychological grip Maka wields, forcing his ego to confront failure. In a climactic moment, Maka's internal voices conclude that Jake cannot harm a dead man, leading him to shoot himself. Jake's journey through manipulation, strategy, and self-discovery culminates in a triumphant confrontation where fear, ego, and deception are overcome, leaving Jake as the master of his own fate.